In this video, I'm going to tell you the most important information that you need to know about Etsy ads. Just straight to the point knowledge and simple actionable steps that you can do today to start to skyrocket your sales on Etsy. I'm Alfie and I've made over 5,500 sales on Etsy in 2 years. And a lot of my success is down to low budget Etsy ads. So I'm gonna talk you through everything that I know. Right from the basics of how Etsy ads actually work to my very best tips for maximizing revenue through Etsy ads that I've heard nobody else talking about. And I'll even show you my real life revenue returns from using Etsy ads. And I'll also show you exactly how much I personally budget on ads myself. So without further ado, let's quickly start by running over the very basics of using Etsy ads. So whenever you're shopping on Etsy and you see the ad by Etsy seller text on a listing, this essentially means that it's being promoted higher in searches because of Etsy ads. And as a seller, we have the option to run Etsy ads ourselves, just by heading over to the marketing section in your store manager and then hitting the Etsy ads button. From here, you can view your Etsy ad stats, set the daily maximum budget you want to spend on Etsy ads, which we will go into more detail on finding the perfect budget for you later on. And you can also control the listings you want to advertise by turning them on or off. It's honestly really simple. And after spending years digging myself an early grave, trying to get my head around Facebook ads for my other e-commerce stores, honestly, Etsy, I just want to applaud you because your ad platform is so easy to use. Okay, so that's the basics covered. And now let's look at how the budget you're committing to Etsy ads is actually going to be used. Okay, so this is really important. There's two main things that you need to know here: impressions and clicks. So impressions is basically when your advertised listing is just displayed on somebody's screen. So this could just be when a shopper is scrolling through the home or search pages on Etsy and your item flashes by. This is essentially counted as one impression. Then you also have clicks. And I mean, I don't have a PhD or anything, but I think I'm qualified to tell you guys this. So a click is essentially just when somebody clicks on your listing. And the important bit here is that your ad budget is only used when somebody clicks on your listing, and it's not used when you get an impression. So this means that your advertised listing can literally be shown to 1,000 people on Etsy, but if nobody clicks on that listing, then you won't use any of your ad budget at all, which is pretty good, right? You're kind of like guaranteed to get clicks for the money you're actually using, which I think is pretty good. Okay, so now we've gone over the basics and we know how our budget is actually being used. Let's start to talk a bit of strategy. And I'm going to talk you through absolutely everything here, right from how much money you should be allocating on Etsy ads per listing to making sure that you're not wasting a single cent on the platform unnecessarily. And I'm also going to show you my personal results from Etsy ads with the very same strategy that I use. But let's start off with what listings you should actually be advertising in order to get maximum results. So this one's actually really simple and it's what I've always done. The only listings I recommend to start advertising on Etsy ads is your best sellers. So these are the items that are currently getting the most sales on your Etsy store. So this is really important because, as we mentioned earlier, you're only using your ad budget when somebody clicks on your listings. So this is why you don't want to be wasting any budget on listings that people might click on and go through to, but because they're not selling that great, they're then not converting. So essentially you're just wasting your budget on clicks without sales. So practically, I would recommend to just start off on Etsy ads, only advertising maybe 2 or 3 of your very best selling items at the start and just see how that goes. If you get great results, then add listings one at a time and just increase from there. But then of course the question is, how much budget should you allocate daily to get the best results from your ads? Well, I think now is a pretty good time to start discussing budget allocation. So I've seen loads of YouTubers saying that you need to be spending upwards of even $20 a day sometimes on ads, which, I mean, just from my personal experience, this is completely unnecessary. I'm a massive believer in small budget Etsy ad strategy. And I mean, just me personally, I've never spent more than $15 a day on Etsy ads at all. And to be honest, from the months of January right up until September, I normally stick my ad budget at around $5 to $6. And I only really up it during the busy Christmas period. So in general, if you're just starting out and getting the hang of Etsy ads, I honestly don't think you need to be spending more than $2 a day on ads per listing you're advertising. So if you're only advertising one listing, a daily budget of $2, absolutely fine. If you want to advertise 2 listings, $4 a day, absolutely fine. I really don't think you need to be going higher than this. And of course, just to be open-handed, $4 a day on 2 listings might be quite a lot for some people. So again, there's no real necessary amount that you have to put into your budget. You could even just do as little as $1. But just from my personal experience, $2 per listing seems to be the best for me. So with that, let's now go over how to simply read the data and interpret it to get maximum results. So I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. The only real metric I ever look at for Etsy ads is the ROAS, or the return on ad spend. And this is essentially just the sales revenue that you've made from a product as a direct result of Etsy ads divided by the Etsy ads spend. So for example, this product has a ROAS of 15.27, which is just the direct ads revenue of $610.98 divided by the ad spend of $40.02 on that product. So for me, my strategy, I run ads on a product for a minimum of 1 week, and then I start to assess the ROAS for that product. And if the ROAS drops below 2.5 after a week, then I'll just cut that product completely out of advertising. So this is because the cost of the product to supply plus the amount I'm actually spending on ads compared to the revenue I'm getting in from ads for that product will make it not profitable for me. And I mean, of course, this will apply to every store a little bit differently and your specific circumstance, but you just need to know how much your product costs and then determine how much you can actually afford to spend on ads, and then take your ROAS score and determine if it's actually profitable for you or not. So now I want to deep dive into my own personal results that I've been getting and show you kind of the revenues I'm seeing compared to how much I'm personally spending on advertising. So looking at the last 30 days, I've spent a total of $454.87 on Etsy ads. And that's returning me $2,204.81 in revenue, which to be honest is something I'm relatively happy with. Like, that's not bad by any means. And for me, that equals to a direct profit of around $800 just from advertising on Etsy, once I take away the product costs and the advertising costs. And just as a little caveat here, I probably could make a lot more money if I upped my ad budget, but because I sell physical items, I'd then just be running out of stock before I even have the chance to replace it. Which, I mean, there's a lot worse problems to have, right? And I'm very grateful for it. And if you found it interesting seeing real life stats of how much I've personally made through Etsy ads, then you might like to see how much I made on Etsy as a complete beginner during my first 6 months of opening my Etsy store. So feel free to check out this video if you think that might interest you. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching. I wish you the very best in your Etsy journey, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.